It's just so massive.
Look at the size of the trunk on that.
It's long been known that the Sea of Cortez contains places and things worthy of awe and admiration. What's now becoming abundantly clear is that those places also need protection. The establishment of Loreto Marine Park is part of the answer.
Funding for The Desert Speaks was provided by Desert Program Partners, representing concerned viewers making a financial commitment to the education about and preservation of deserts, and by the Stonewall Foundation.
By the middle of the 20th century, scientists had pretty well agreed that the Gulf of California is the richest marine body in the world. Only 3 decades later, the Gulf was in crisis. Fishing stocks had plummeted and turtles were pretty well gone. Conservationists sounded the alarm. Mexican biologists and an international team got together to come up with a plan to protect the resource and return it to its original richness.
The most obvious need was to establish an extended area of protection, and thus Loreto Marine Park was formed. The employees are both park rangers and researchers.
We currently have several active biological projects within the marine park. We monitor marine mammals and yellow-footed gulls. The gulls can be found on most of the islands inside the park. Once a month during the year, we monitor sea turtle populations. My personal favorite, though, is collecting data on the reptiles. Catalina Island is a biological reserve within the park boundaries, and 100% of its reptiles are endemic, not found anywhere else in the world.
Since the inception of the park, the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum has worked with park personnel to see what's on the islands and how these creatures interact with everything else. The museum has chartered a boat to continue the study. The creatures on Santa Catalina Island are sensational, but elusive. Finding them requires a bit of luck. They include a rattlesnake that, by the way, has no rattle. But there are other weird creatures as well.
Wow, look how dark the throat is.
I know. God.
I think one of the really interesting things about being in the Gulf of California is that when you're actually in the water or actually in the air, you have some animals that are transcontinental, and almost worldwide distributions. So you have sea turtles and sharks and whales that travel all over the place. But when it comes to animals that are terrestrial like us, they're a little more limited, and they wind up somewhat isolated, especially when you have a peninsula or these small islands. And what happens over time is these animals, if they're actually isolated long enough, they wind up with some changes that take place on a genetic level and eventually wind up with different species. So one of the really exciting things for us is to find all of these different forms that are related to mainland forms, but totally different. There's a little lizard sitting right on that rock, looks like another side blotched.
I just see a splotch of green in there.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that really stands out. That's not very good camouflage. But then I guess
apparently it works.
Doesn't matter here.
Oh, we got a chuckwalla.
Hey, Chuck.
Is it out or in a little crevice then? Here we go.
Hi, Chuck. They are so great. What's different about these chucks than the other ones, say, that we have in Arizona?
Well, this one here is a different species. It's supposed to be Soromalis clobberi. The scale are different. On the neck here, very, very rough, which remind us more of other types of chuckwalla, like the black chuckwalla that's found on some of the larger islands. Yeah. I mean, you can hear my finger on top. You know, these scales are like sandpaper. And the color, very uniform black. The one in the southwest tend to either have a tan color, a tail, or orange on the body, or a combination of both.
Are these more aggressive?
Some of them do have a temper. They will, you know, open their mouth, and they're vegetarian. Doesn't mean that they don't have teeth. They have a lot of them very serrated, because some of that vegetation is really hard to tear apart pieces, so they do have the ability to bite. Seeing these animals in captivities and books, having the opportunity to be here on these islands, going from one island to the other and going through these species that we've just read about, it's just unbelievable. It's kind of a dream come true.
The color on this is just gorgeous. Look at that tail. They're as beautiful as they are in books. Oh, there's a rattlesnake in there. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, well, you know,
Holy Toledo, Stefan. Get it.
Boy, is that gorgeous. It looks like a ruber with no rattle. Look at that.
Let's get him down
And
here.
if he's in the,
Well,
he's going to
this is
get
much
hotter
better.
and hotter in the sunlight.
these probably all come from the diamondback family. This is the only one that has completely non-functional rattle. There are others that have just a barely functional rattle. When we look at rattlesnakes, of course you expect to see a rattle. And that's an incredible device that makes noise if a snake chooses to warn a potential predator. When we get to Santa Catalina Island, we have kind of a relaxation of mammal predators. There are still some avian ones, but this is considered to be something that's primarily used to avoid predation of mammals. So you remove those predators, and on top of it you wind up with this being a cost, because this particular snake feeds on birds. It has elongated fangs so that it can actually penetrate feathers and inject the venom into the bird. And then it actually, of course, without the rattle, it can climb up into this vegetation without warning its prey that it's on its way. Well, this is a youngster.
Juvenile.
No, they can get up to 30, 36 inches long or so.
Have you ever seen one of these before in the wild?
Absolutely not.
Neither one of us have been to Santa
This is the
Catalina
only
Island.
place you can see them in the
What's your
wild.
heart rate right now?
Boy, well, I tend to have a fast heart rate to begin with, so I'm
About
sort of off the
180,
charts
190.
right now. Yeah.
This guy was waiting in that burrow probably till the sun went down a little bit.
yeah.
It was a tad warm.
He was just waiting for it to cool off.
Yeah.
Chuckwalla is absorbing the heat, he's avoiding it. At the end of the day, the chuck goes in and he comes out.
The rattleless rattlesnake was just one creature in a large ecosystem that was ripe for protection.
The park was established because of a fairly small group of individuals from Loreto that were very concerned about the levels of fishing effort by industrial boats, mostly shrimpers and sardine fishing boats that were damaging the shallow soft bottoms and were catching a lot of the sardine that likes to hang out in these coves, these protected waters. It's the food of seabirds, it's the food of sharks, it's the food of large predatory fish. It's a keystone animal that keeps the ecosystem functioning.
Nuestro talón de Aquiles es la sobrepesca.
Our Achilles heel is overfishing. It's a huge area to enforce with few resources. Right now, there are only 6 of us.
Podemos agarrar a uno o a dos.
We can get 1 or 2 violators, but not all. So this is our Achilles heel. Another challenge to the park, which we're trying to deal with, is the growing population.
Es decir, Loreto actualmente
Right now, the city of Loreto has a population of 12,000, and in 25 years, the projection is 10 times that, over 120,000 people.
alrededor de 120,000 personas. Pues eso nos está generando una
This will create many problems for the park, unless we can educate the newcomers and enforce park regulations.
Las reglas tienen que conducirse de cierta manera en el lugar, ¿no?
The Loreto Bay Marine Park allows commercial activities to take place. The only ban in commercial fisheries is to large ship. So for the park, it's really important to have viable commercial fisheries, small-scale commercial fisheries. Not only the sport fishing activity that is pretty important, but other types of activities that local communities can do.
Somos puras mujeres.
Our co-op is run by all women. For some jobs, though, like diving and driving the boats, we employ men.
Todo lo que es hombre.
The Mujeres del Ligüí cooperative or women from Liwi, that is the coastal town where they live. It's very unique in terms of the women are in charge of the business. They run all the operation. They hire their husbands or brothers or sons to work with them. They don't do all the diving, that is the dangerous part.
That doesn't look like a brand new compressor they got there, and that's providing all the air for the diver?
Yeah, that's it's pretty much the setting, the rig that all the divers, the commercial divers in the Sea of Cortez use. The bags he's going to retrieve are 80 to 90 feet deep. But you see how close we are from shore?
Yeah, it's
and
deep.
it's already 90 feet.
Yeah.
If you go a little more, it's like 300 feet deep.
So it drops
It's a
off.
big canyon here. That's why this area is so good for whales as well. In some of these communities, women can really sometimes do a better job on managing a business than men.
Para poder formar la cooperativa.
It was expensive to get the co-op up and going. We raised money by selling tamales, raffle tickets, asking for donations here and there.
Sort of family enterprises here, right? I mean, this is really small-scale production.
Yeah, this is a small production. It's part of the ways that fishermen are trying to find alternative livelihoods in addition to commercial fishing.
So are they seeding these, or is this all natural growth here?
No, they're seeding. They get the seed, they buy the seed, and then they put them in bags that are smaller and then bigger and bigger as they grow.
Pues nosotros el trabajo que hacemos
A lot of our work involves long, hard days.
Por ejemplo, nosotros cuando es la siembra de almeja,
During the clam seeding season, we come out before the sun rises and stay to work until it gets dark.
aquí al campo de trabajo.
I think that we, women, have shown that men are not the only ones that can make a living from the sea.
Nosotros también podemos.
We as Mexicans have a huge responsibility to conserve this special and spectacular place and have a wise use of all the natural resources, all the animals and plants, and be creative, find new ways to think about how we can bring tourist enterprises that are really concerned about sustainability and fisheries that can become examples of sustainability for other regions in Mexico and throughout the world. I mean, divers are not coming in the numbers that used to come because sharks are gone, big manta rays are very rare to find. So if we lose that uniqueness, we're going to be in a lot of trouble competing in the future for tourists. So I think that we need to be very aware and creative and optimistic that we still have a lot of things to save. We need to create this huge effort, group effort, to keep the Sea of Cortez as wild and as intense as the way it is right now. It's hard to come to the Sea of Cortez and not want to come back.
Luis was not joking. One of the finest stands of cacti in the world, indoors on another part of Santa Catalina Island. He told us how to get there.
I'd heard stories about the cardon sahuesos of Santa Catalina Island, how big they are, but nothing prepares you for these massive things. They've got to be, I guess, the second biggest cactus in the world after one in southern Mexico.
Listen, we're used to looking at saguaros in Arizona, and these are just so much bigger.
Look at the size of the trunk on that. That's got to be probably close to 10 feet around at least. How in the world can they get that big on 4 inches of rain a year? Somebody knows, but I'm not among them. And each of those arms is a couple of tons of water. So they got to be really strong just to hold that much water up in the air.
But I tell you, I'd like to be here 1 month later, 1 month from now, to taste the delicious fruit.
Oh,
that
yeah,
these
they
guys
are
have.
good. They are good. In some places there's concern about columnar cactus populations that there aren't any babies. I tell you, there's no worry here. Look at these.
This is a very nice population here, small.
Yeah, small, medium, large. So it's mixed. It's not just one year. It's not just one size. Oh, the cardonias are great. They're huge, but they're everywhere. This is only here. Look at it.
Wow.
This thing is enormous. It's a barrel cactus. Okay, the top of my head is about 6 foot 2 inches tall. So how tall is a cactus?
Oh, well, talking about over 10 feet.
Ah, that's good. That's good. Look at this thing.
The thorns are quite amazing because they're very fine.
Like a needle, not like the big old thick spines that we have on the barrels in the U.S. They'll prickle nevertheless, but well, they don't need the protection here. Nothing's going to harm this thing. I'd love to hug it, but I would probably never be able to impale myself.
To look at something this size, obviously it's very, very old. So it would probably be something similar to some of those old cardones or saguaros that sometimes it's hard to age in.
Or those guys with the rattlesnake thought that they had their holy grail. Let me tell you, this is the real stuff. This is the epitome of excellence.
Ya las gaviotas tienden su vuelo, ya se preparan para volar. Andan buscando nidos de amores no encontrarán. Si quieres vamos en mi barquillo, si quieres vamos te llevaré. Y cuando estemos en la otra orilla, nuevas canciones te cantaré.
Of course, when we see 2 or 3 animals at the surface, that probably represents about 8 to 10 animals in total, because not everybody's at the surface.
Well,
at the
we're
same
seeing
time.
a lot. I mean, we're seeing at any given time over 100.
Fishermen often key in on the dolphins because the dolphins are foraging on the prey fish, and if the prey fish are there, it's very possible that tuna and other large fisheries-targeted fishes are also there. So they'll often set their purse seine nets right around a school of dolphins. The idea of dolphin-safe tuna, for example, that was fisheries management actions to mandate that purse seining, the trying to catch the tuna, does not happen over the top of the dolphin school. And it's been very effective. Actually, some of the dolphin stocks are starting to come back, whereas others are not coming back the way we'd like them to. I've seen this sort of thing for years here in the Gulf, pretty much since I started coming down here, but you never get tired of it.
How can you get tired?
The charisma of these animals, and the sheer numbers of these animals, just is something that makes the hair on my back and my neck stand up.
They want to be close to us, but maybe on their terms.
I think so. It's all on their terms. And that's one of the great things about marine mammals, is that the interactions with humans or with boats is really on their terms. If they don't want to be here, they can go underwater and swim away very quickly.
Como a las 11 se embarca Lupita, se va a embarcar en un buque de vapor, y yo quisiera formarle un chubasco y detenerle su navegación.
The dolphins and the fisheries thrive because of the deep, cold waters of the Gulf and abound due to the violent geological history of the Sea of Cortez.
As Baja California tore away from the mainland, it created a rift zone, a tear in the Earth's surface. That's associated with a lot of volcanic activity. What I'm looking at back here is probably a volcanic plug. When lava rose toward the surface and probably even exceeded the surface of the water, if there was water then, it blew and exploded with cinders that gradually enclosed a large area. This might have been a cinder cone 1,000 feet high. The lava in the bottom spurted out but gradually hardened, and over a few million years, the cinder cone has been entirely eroded away, leaving just the remnants of the lava and this plug.
Similar plugs provide irreplaceably safe habitat for birds, especially pelicans.
This is a hardcore desert island here. What's the relationship between what goes on here with the rest of the Gulf behind us?
Well, it's a pretty barren island, all right, but it would be a lot more barren were it not for these seabirds. This is a great example of the connectivity between the marine ecosystem and the terrestrial ecosystem of these islands. Look at all this guano, all of that guano and all those feathers and a few dead birds and scattered eggs. That's all productivity that these seabirds take from the ocean and bring right up here to this island. It's actually a pretty lush cactus forest, and if it weren't for these birds, those probably wouldn't be there. Not only that, but there are all these scavenging beetles and other insects that are consuming the dead bodies and the guano, and those become prey to the lizards, and the lizards become prey to the raptors, the hawks and such, and right on up through the food chain.
It's really not a desert island. It's a desert island that isn't a desert island.
Well, it's a marine oasis, and an oceanic island is typically connected very strongly to the sea like this.
The majority of these animals are still on eggs, I think. And there's the chicks, the sort of white fluffy chicks that look to be very, very young, on the order of a couple weeks. And then older chicks that are starting to take on that sort of coffee brown color. And just on this hillside here, I counted about 150 nests. And so probably a third of those have chicks. And they're sort of a chorus of chicks saying, "Feed me, feed me."
As I recall, after that DDT episode for, 20 years or so, they were on the endangered species
They
list.
sure were.
And have they been delisted?
They have. That's one of the great success stories of the Endangered Species Act, in that it mandated a change in what we're putting into the oceans or what we're putting into the water supplies. So that eggshell softening of the past, thankfully, is of the past.
Hey, here comes a shift change.
Let's see.
There's one coming in.
Almost hovering, landing like a helicopter on a rock here.
And okay, the other is spreading wings.
The one's punching his card right now, and
Yeah.
and she's taking off.
Okay, there goes the other one.
Absolutely
All right,
amazing.
he or she got up on the nest, so that's a pretty good timing. That nest isn't left untended for more than a few seconds.
What a great example of cooperative rearing of hatchlings. On any given year, and speaking of a good year, there's about 30,000 nests of brown pelicans here. And of course, this is just one of the 4 different stocks of pelicans that occur here in the eastern Pacific that are nesting.
So the pelicans will find a school of sardines, and then all of a sudden they're dropping out of the sky like just so many dive bombers. Is that diving behavior really necessary for them? Or is it just opportunistic?
No, I think it really is necessary for them. We call that plunging, actually. So they plunge in the water, and they have such visual acuity, and they can see the fish or whatever prey species it is close to the surface. Once they hit the water, they immediately open their mouth. So that beak just opens up, and that lower mandible, almost like a baleen whale, opens up and kind of spreads out and takes a big gulp of water. And as they're trying to bring the fish in, often what you'll see is the successful predators kind of lift their beak up in the air and shake
their head,
Yeah.
I noticed that when they were coming up.
The management challenges in Loreto are growing. We hope that the government and all the local authorities are really aware that in the next years they need to invest more in protecting this beautiful area. Sometimes government officials are desperate to create new jobs, and they go for the easy option of just building, and sometimes they're not even concerned about the availability of fresh water for new development. So, or they want to start new fisheries just by fishing deeper and deeper, and that really short mind vision of development is what we need to avoid. We need to think for what we want in the Sea of Cortez for the next 50 years, 100 years. What I would like my 2 daughters to come and see what I've seen, and see the whales and the dolphins and the lizards on the islands and the stars at night, and it's something that a lot of people must experience. And if we continue the way we are, probably we're going to miss a lot of that.
The challenge for conservationists now is to make sure that the peninsula can accommodate those people and still maintain the natural values that make Baja California one of the wonders of the world.
Big structure.
The San Andreas Fault is one of the best-known geological features on Earth. Some of it is easy to see, but parts of it are kind of hard to find, unless you know what you're looking for.
Because these sag ponds.
And if you live in Southern California, some say it's just a matter of time before it will find you. Next time on The Desert Speaks.
Hi, Chuck.
Try and put his hole back together. Oh, there's a rattlesnake in there. I'm not kidding.
Oh, yeah, well, you know.
Holy Toledo, Stefan.
Orange thing.
Okay,
Orange
get the
thing?
tongs.
I don't know what orange thing is.
Oh
Okay.
my God. That would have been not the way you want to encounter one of these.
Well, here, want me to take the Chuck?
Get my hand out of it.
Stefan?
Here.
Okay.
I got it, Stefan. Get it.
I know.
Where'd it go? There it is.
Funding for The Desert Speaks was provided by Desert Program Partners, representing concerned viewers making a financial commitment to the education about and preservation of deserts, and by the Stonewall Foundation,